Israeli aircraft have carried out 2 airstrikes on the Gaza Strip. Attacks targeted a security outpost belonging to the Palestinian resistance movement of Hamas in north of the besieged enclave. Our correspondent in Gaza, Ashraf Shannon, gave us the latest on this incident. Here he is.
Yesterday, Israeli regime fighter jets attacked a Hamas security position that belongs to Hamas's military wing, the Deir Qassam brigades, in the northern Gaza Strip town of Beth Lahia, twice this evening, causing a lot of damage to that security post in northern Gaza, and also causing panic among the residents of the northern Gaza Strip town of Beth Lahia. These airstrikes come just 6 days after the Israeli regime fighter jets attacked several locations in the Gaza Strip. Israeli military said that the airstrikes were a retaliation for alleged incendiary balloons that were fired from the Gaza Strip earlier in the day. Israel does not need any reason to attack Gaza. They've been doing this for many years. Carried out 3 major wars against Gaza since 2008, killing and maiming thousands of people, including women and children.
TV7 Israel News is made possible thanks to your generous donation. Shalom and good evening. This is TV7 Israel News, broadcast to you from Jerusalem. And in today's top stories, Palestinian Islamists in the Gaza Strip unleashed several clusters of balloons attached to both incendiary and explosive devices, causing blazes in southern Israel, consequently also prompting a retaliatory bombardment against a Hamas subterranean installation in a northern Palestinian enclave. A political crisis in Jerusalem over the state budget is seemingly threatening the Israeli unity government stability. Egypt and Greece sign a maritime exclusive economic zone in the eastern Mediterranean, drawing Turkish vows to contest the accord by all means at its disposal. Palestinian Islamists in the Gaza Strip unleashed several clusters of balloons attached to both incendiary and explosive devices over the course of the day yesterday, which consequently sparked several blazes in dry thorn fields within Israel's southern Eshkol Regional Council. Despite the dry weather conditions, however, local fire brigades managed to subdue the flames relatively quick. Nevertheless, the blazes managed to consume some 300 dunams in the Be'eri forest. Separately, police bomb disposal experts located an improvised explosive device in the industrial zone of the city of Arad. Israeli police spokesman Miki Rosenfeld told TV7 that the officers conducted a controlled explosion of the device in an uninhabited area. Thankfully, no injuries or damage were reported.
In the south, in the industrial area of Arad, police bomb disposal experts arrived in an area where a suspicious object landed. Our units confirmed it was an explosive device. The explosive device was taken to a safe area and neutralized, preventing any injuries or anyone from being hurt. Heinz security is continuing in the south to prevent any further suspicious objects from landing and to respond if necessary.
In response to the indiscriminate launch of the terror balloons toward the southern communities of Israel, the IDF conducted a retaliatory bombardment exactly 14 minutes after 11 p.m. against militant installations belonging to the Islamist Hamas organization in the Gaza Strip. The IDF spokesperson's unit informed TV7 that an IDF fighter jet and aircraft struck infrastructure used for underground activities in the northern territory of the Hamas-controlled enclave. Meanwhile, Israeli alternate premier and defense minister Benny Gantz reiterated that Jerusalem would not tolerate any violations of its sovereignty or any harm to the residents of southern Israel. He further highlighted, quote, "In case terrorist organizations haven't gotten it yet, if you test Israel, you will pay the price." Turning now to Israel's northern front, where rocket alert sirens were set off this morning in a number of communities in the western Galilee district. Shortly thereafter, however, the IDF spokesperson's unit announced that no incoming fire toward Israel was identified. It further noted that it appears to have been a false suspicion of an infiltrating unmanned aerial vehicle. Earlier overnight, the IDF identified a drone which infiltrated into Israeli airspace in the Mount Hermon region along the Israeli side of the blue line with Lebanon. The drone was closely monitored and shortly thereafter intercepted by the IDF, which is conducting searches to locate the aerial vehicle's debris. The IDF spokesperson's unit released a statement in which it underscored that there is no connection between the downing of the drone to the false alarm of an infiltrating unmanned aerial vehicle in the Western Galilee earlier today. It further stressed that the IDF will not tolerate any violation of Israeli sovereignty. It is important to know that following a situation assessment by the IDF General Staff last night, the Israeli military's top commander, Lieutenant General Aviv Kochavi, decided to maintain the operational deployment in the north along the border with Lebanon. However, General Kochavi ordered the units to rotate troops to facilitate continuous operations. Turning now to Jerusalem, where a political crisis over the state budget is seemingly threatening the Israeli government's stability. With just 2.5 weeks ahead of a legally binding deadline for approving the state budget, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is demanding a one-year budget, which he claims is vital to deal with the economic ramifications of the corona pandemic. In contrast, alternate Premier and Defense Minister Benny Gantz demands a 2-year budget per the coalition agreement signed between the two leaders, which consequently brought about the formation of the reigning national unity government. Currently, however, neither Netanyahu nor Gantz are willing to budge from their respective positions, and according to political officials from both camps, there does not appear to be a solution in the horizon. It is important to explain that if a state budget fails to pass in a parliament vote within the 2.5 weeks remaining, in accordance with Israeli law, the government will automatically dissolve and elections will be once again forced upon the Jewish state. In response to this development, leaders of the ultra-Orthodox parties issued a statement calling upon Netanyahu and Gantz to avoid an election. The statement read, quote, "We won't cooperate with any initiative to move up the elections," while further emphasizing that passing the state budget is the order of the day. Responding to this statement during a tour of the Corona ward at the Shaarei Tzedek Medical Center in Jerusalem, Netanyahu is evidently unwilling to budge from demanding a one-year budget, predicting an inevitable outcome.
המפלגות החרדיות אמרו שלא צריך ללכת לבחירות ושצריך להעביר תקציב. אני חושב שצריך להעביר תקציב אתמול. והתקציב החד-שנתי הוא מיידי, אפשר להעביר אותו בשבוע הבא כבר בממשלה.
Turning now to Israel's western neighbor, where Egyptian Foreign Minister Samih Shukri held a signing ceremony together with his Greek counterpart Nikos Dendias, in which the two top diplomats ratified a bilateral agreement on the designation of an exclusive economic zone, or EEZ, in the eastern Mediterranean, an area containing promising offshore oil and gas reservoirs.
لقد شهدت زيارة الوزير تطورا نوعيا في درجة عالية من الأهمية في تاريخ علاقتنا القوية والمتشعبة، وهو توقيعنا سويا منذ قليل على اتفاق حول تعيين المنطقة الاقتصادية الخالصة بين جمهورية مصر العربية وجمهورية اليونان الصديقة، المضي قدما في تعظيم الاستفادة من الثروات المتاحة في المنطقة الاقتصادية الخالصة لكل منهما، خاصة احتياطات النفط والغاز الواعدة، ويفتح آفاقا جديدة لمزيد من التعاون الإقليمي بمجال الطاقة في ظل عضوية البلدين في منتدى غاز شرق المتوسط.
The bilateral agreement effectively nullifies a similar accord between Turkey and the Tripoli-based Libyan government of national accord. Last year, those two parties agreed to maritime boundaries in a deal Egypt and Greece decried as illegal and a violation of international law. Athens maintains the Turkish-Libyan agreement infringes on its continental shelf, specifically off the Greek island of Crete. Now, as part of a maneuver to counter what Athens views as an Ankara-orchestrated attempt to infringe on Greek maritime rights, the agreement with Egypt is expected to serve as legal grounds for additional activities.
Μια υποδειγματική συμφωνία, σημαντική για ολόκληρη την Ανατολική Μεσόγειο. Η συμφωνία έχει συναυθεί στο πλαίσιο του διεθνούς δικαίου. Σέβεται τις πρόνοιες του διεθνούς δικαίου και του δικαίου της θάλασσας. Σέβεται επίσης τις σχέσεις καλής γειτονίας. Συμβάλλει στη σταθερότητα και την ασφάλεια στην περιοχή μας.
It is important to know that according to the map of the agreement, a demarcation line of Greek and Egyptian maritime boundaries appear to leave no possibility of a link between Turkey and Libya. Meanwhile, Turkish Foreign Minister Mevlut Çavuşoğlu was quick to respond to the Greek and Egyptian maritime EEZ agreement, forcefully dismissing it as null and void.
Ama bu koordinatlardan kolayca görüyoruz ki bu anlaşma, bahsettikleri anlaşma hem Türkiye Cumhuriyeti'nin hem de Libya'nın kıta sahanlığını ve haklarını ihlal ediyor. Dolayısıyla bizim daha önce Birleşmiş Milletler'e bildirdiğimiz kıta sahanlığımızı ihlal eden bir anlaşma bizim için yok hükmündedir. Ve zaten bu noktaya gelmemizin de sebebi bugüne kadar Yunanistan'ın, Rum kesiminin yine Mısır, İsrail gibi ülkelerle Türkiye'yi yok sayarak anlaşmalar imzalamaya çalışması, adımlar atmasıdır.
Minister Çavuşoğlu further stressed that while Ankara intends to persist with its activities in the eastern Mediterranean in accordance with its maritime agreement with the Libyan Government of National Accord in Tripoli, it will proactively assure that the world comprehends that the agreement between Athens and Cairo is null and void.
Biz de hem kendimizin hem de Kıbrıs Türk halkının haklarını korumak için bugüne kadar net, somut adımlar attık. Sadece sismik araştırma değil, sondaj gemilerimize de sahada faaliyetlerimizi sürdürüyoruz. Ve biraz önce ne dedim? Bu anlaşma yok hükmündedir. Bunu yok hükmünde olduğunu sahada da, masada da göstermeye devam edeceğiz. Hem bunlara hem de tüm dünyaya.
Thank you for watching us. As part of TV7's initiative, I would like to encourage you to join myself and the team here in Jerusalem to lift up Egypt once again in prayer for its salvation and peace, alongside our ongoing prayers for the peace of Jerusalem, the peace and salvation of Israel, as well as for all those who were impacted by the corona contagion worldwide. Furthermore, I would like to personally thank all of our new partners and supporters, as well as our old ones, for your voiced prayers and financial support, which provides us with both a physical and spiritual ability to produce our daily programs from Israel. I'm Jonathan Hassan, wishing you an Erev Tov and Shabbat Shalom, and we will see you again on Monday at the same time.